It is behind the doors of this hospital that doctors and parents put their trust. The safest place in the world where babies smaller than an adult's hand takes their first fragile breaths. A place where every pounding heartbeat of a baby is a moment to celebrate. To imagine a killer stalking the quiet, hopeful corridors of this neonatal unit is unthinkable moment that this young and smiling face of this woman in blue uniform could carry out these crimes is somehow even worse. For some parents like Victoria Whitfield and her husband Michael, it was a scary moment that luckily ended in a happy moment. But for the parents of the 7 babies, this moment will never be the same.
The heavy load constantly on my mind has deeply changed me. Those lives were not yours to take, and although I am torn with sadness, anger, and unanswered questions, I cannot forgive you. There is no forgiving. Not now, not ever. Since Child D passed away, I lived beside my own shadow. I have had multiple therapies, panic attacks, dark thoughts, plus many struggles to overcome.
I don't think we will ever get over the fact that our daughter was tortured till she had no fight left in her, and everything she went through over her short life was deliberately done by someone who was supposed to protect her and help her come home where she belonged.
You thought you could enter our lives and turn it upside down, but you will never win. We hope you live a very long life and spend every single day suffering for what you have done.
Lucy Letby has destroyed our lives. The anger and the hatred I have towards her will never go away. It has destroyed me as a man and as a father.
Lucy Letby, a nurse, killed 7 babies and was attempting to murder 5 other ones before being arrested. She slowly and deliberately injected babies with air, force-fed others milk, and poisoned 2 of the infants with insulin. For the government and families of those killed babies, this is a nightmare that still haunts their sleep. After those unexplained incidents, Lucy Letby was finally arrested on suspicion of 7 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder.
Yeah, not a problem.
Yeah. I'm just going to put you in the back seat over here.
Hold on, man.
Yes.
Get this.
Okay, just take a seat in there for me, Lucy. I'll move that seat forward a bit. Sure.
Yeah, I've just had knee surgery.
Despite
right,
many
okay.
alerts made by pediatrician colleagues and much evidence linking her to the murders, Letby was not arrested until July 2018. After investigation, when searching for pieces of evidence, officers found medical records and many notes with unthinking messages. When reading, they discover a sinister and evil person hiding behind those fake smile. I am evil. I did this. This is a case that shocked the entire city of Chester and will serve to raise concerns about the trust given to nurses and could raise possible questions about CCTV cameras during those interventions. Who is Lucy Letby? Letby was born on January 4th, 1990. As a child, Letby grew up in Hereford, England, coming from a loving family as an only child. Letby's parents, Susan Letby and John Letby, have always been a support for their daughter, providing an amazing childhood. Lucy had everything she needed to succeed as a child. She pursued her education in nursing at the University of Chester. During her 3 years of training, Letby also worked as a student nurse, carrying out placements at Liverpool Women's Hospital and the Countess of Chester Hospital. In her university years, Lucy was part of a group called Weren't Girly Girls Who Always Partied, but who were all very focused on their study, a sentence that were describing her as a very focused girl who knew what she wanted in life, to become a nurse. As a child, Letby's desire to become a nurse has always been at the center of her heart. She qualified as a Band 5 nurse in September 2011 and soon after started working full-time at the Countess of Chester Hospital from January 2012 before qualifying to work with intensive care babies in the spring of 2015. For her friend and family, Letby was described as a very calm, gentle person who enjoys dancing salsa and adores spending time with her 2 loving cats.
We know she couldn't have done anything that she's accused of. So without a doubt, we stand by her. I've grown up with Lucy, and not a single thing that I've ever seen or witnessed of Lucy would, let me for a moment believe that she was capable of the things she was being accused of.
You seem utterly unshakable on this, but isn't it possible she's fooled you all?
Unless Lucy turned around and said, "I'm guilty," I will never believe that she's guilty.
But behind this pictured smile, a hard-working and sociable face was hiding a dark and obscure face who was soon going to become one of the most cold-blooded, calculated, twisted newborn baby serial killers we have ever witnessed. Her crimes were so disturbing, so demoniac, that it is still hard to think about it. Chester, United Kingdom, is a northwest city in England. Very calm. The community enjoys the luxury of bowling, cinemas, and crazy golf at the Coliseum Leisure Park, a place where residents had a different selection of cafes, restaurants, and swimming adventures. The residents also benefit from a very good healthcare system, with great hospitals like the Chester Hospital. It was behind those doors of this hospital at Countess of Chester that the killer, dressed as an angel in a nurse uniform, decided to choose her victims who were all newborns. But why? A person who loved her job so much, always wanted to serve as a nurse, changed so drastically to become one of the most hated newborn serial killers of our time. Everything started in June 2015, when Dr. Senior Pediatrician and head consultant at the hospital's neonatal unit started to notice a strange pattern between the deaths of those babies.
I've been a paediatrician since 1992, and I had never in my career seen anything like this. And actually, initially, there was a feeling of thank goodness Lucy was on, because she's really good in a crisis, she's really good at managing these things. But as time progressed, the thoughts started springing into our heads. Could she be doing something deliberately?
So the thought starts sinking in that there could be a killer on the unit. I mean, that's a big moment.
It's a big moment, and it's a chilling moment. I don't think anybody has a rule book for how you deal with a situation. I was sitting at the desk just outside the room writing notes, and the nurse looking after the baby said she was popping to the delivery suite to go and talk to the parents, and she said, "I've left Lucy in there babysitting." Part of me was saying, you better go in and just check everything's okay, because you know what's happened before when Lucy's been on duty. As I walked towards the incubator, I could see on the monitors that the oxygen saturations, which is basically the baby's oxygen levels, were dropping. And they dropped to a level that ordinarily, number one, the alarms would have been going off. But number two, the nurse would have called for help. And Lucy Letby was standing by the top of the incubator. She didn't have her hands in the incubator.
What was she doing there?
Well, she was just standing there. Now, tubes become dislodged, but this was a 25-week gestation baby who wasn't kicking around, who wasn't vigorous. The only possibility was that that tube had to have been dislodged deliberately.
For the privacy of the babies, they have been named babies A, B, and C. Dr. Breary started to notice and couldn't understand why 4 relatively healthy babies suddenly had collapsed from nowhere and suffered a catastrophic and unexpected decline in their health. For weeks, he searched for reasons that might explain those tragic events, but the only thing that could link all those 4 was only one person: a nurse, Lucy Letby. Dr. Breary then raised his concern to the hospital management, but faced a huge resistance, claiming a false accusation against a nurse who worked so hard and was really appreciated by everyone. As a response to those claims, the hospital management decided to offer her a chance to pursue her master's degree. Things that seemed very strange. Why would such a loving person as Letby be responsible for such atrocious and unthinkable murders? Honestly, it was making no sense. As days passed, a series of inexplicable events continued to happen. New babies started to die unexpectedly, but this time with a different cause of death. In the early hours of August 4th, Child A twin boy, collapsed and died. After investigation, it was revealed that Letby had injected air into his bloodstream. The next day, she used insulin to try to poison the baby's twin brother, Child F. Hopefully, he survived. For the other babies, an X-ray exam taken before their deaths showed excessive amounts of gas or air bubbles in their bowels. For the experts, it is clear air could not be injected accidentally into the blood of those babies. Lucy Letby passed a training course on the danger of administering air embolism in the blood, causing a bulge to block the nerves or arteries of those babies, a fortnight before she murdered her first victim. One important question still in the mind of the investigators is June 2015 the turning point? Was it at this moment that Letby started to realize that she could use a new technique and see the outcome for those poor babies and finally started to enjoy it? Things that we will never know. At her trial, one of the possible motives mentioned by the prosecutors was that Letby attacked and killed those to gain the sympathy of a doctor who she might have a secret relationship with. But as no surprise, Letby denied those allegations and insisted on seeing the doctor only as a trusted friend. Reports later showed that this doctor, whose identity remained unknown for legal purposes, had driven Letby home the night one of the babies died, and different searches were made by Letby on the doctor's wife's Facebook. After sending him heart emojis in a WhatsApp message, she continued to act strange when she failed to kill one of the babies.
I think she was unsuccessful with killing my kids. That's why she was very annoyed with us. She thought that I couldn't kill your baby.
A series of events and messages later showed Letby exchanged with her colleagues revealed many details about the person she was becoming and how she started to enjoy those murders. On the night of June 13th, 2015, 5 days after the murder of the first baby and the day before she killed the third baby, Letty had an irritable exchange with a colleague over her manager's refusal to let her go back to work in intensive care after all those incidents. In the conversation, her colleague advised Letby to take a break and come back stronger, things that she disapproved of, and replied back, "Forget I said anything. I'll be fine. It's part of the job, just don't feel like there is much team spirit tonight." The same thing happened when another baby died on Sunday 21, June 2015. The morning after murdering baby D, Letby sent a message to a colleague saying, "I think there is an element of fate involved. There is a reason for everything." At this moment, it is clear that Letby started to become conscious of her actions toward those families. The shocking truth appeared on July 3rd, 2018, around 6 p.m. when police showed up at her home in Chester. Underneath her bed, investigators found an Ibiza bag containing 31 handover sheets of those dead babies, a blood gas reading for a child she allegedly attacked, and a paper towel containing handwritten resuscitation notes. More shocking was when the police discovered those handwritten notes showing declarations of love for the same doctor. But more details came to life as the notes showing a message. Next to his name were "I loved you and my best friend." Another note mentioning "help me. I can't do this anymore, and how can life be this way?" Another reference to twins was recorded with the date of birth for 2 twin boys and twin Resses. For the family of the babies, it is a disaster. Lucy Letby was finally arrested and sentenced to life for the murder of 5 newborn boys and 2 girls. On the surface, what seems to be a trusted place for parents became a nightmare for those parents. We could never understand why the hospital management didn't take appropriate actions to investigate the death of those babies, but gave too much support to this serial killer who's everyone considered as the girl next door, a normal and sociable person who will do everything to protect those babies. But unfortunately for those family Letby use this face to turn herself into a devil. The Lucy Letby case is a cautionary reminder of how much trust we give to some people in our life, trust given to bus drivers, pilots, and many professionals. One thing that still remains a mystery is why Letby kept all that evidence in her house. Was this to serve as a trophy, or is there another partner in crime that has still not been revealed? As a viewer, do you think she might be heavily on suicide watch? Do you think the hospital management should have been convicted? Write in the comment your thoughts and subscribe to the next video on Lucy Letby's case.
The second day of our children, our family came from London, and then they said, "Wow, congratulations, you've become the mother of 2 children." I was very happy. We were over the moon. Then suddenly at 4 o'clock, the nurse came and said, "You need to come downstairs." I was very sore, and I thought, that morning I was giggling with my kids and they were very, very happy in their cots. Then suddenly this happened. He was just crying. And I said, "Oh my God, what happened?" And the doctor was giving compressions to baby M. One of the nurses, Mary Griffith, said to me, I've not done anything. And Lucy was behind her. She was standing calm and cool.